Shalom, shalom, everybody. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Friday night class, 25th of September, 2020. We're gonna be dealing with this video by Gaza Egypt Part 1. Matter of fact, gonna be dealing with Part 1 and Part 2 between tonight's class, the Sabbath class, and our Saturday evening Sabbath class. Cover both of them. And the reason being is, I'm going all the way in with the melanin because, when you really understand what's going on with the melanin, it opened up a whole bunch of understanding to a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't understand. But before I do that, I'm gonna do we're gonna go to a moment of silence and then go into prayer, and then I'm gonna ask a few questions about a Wednesday class about the Buddhism. Then we're gonna go into the video. Okay. Okay. We pray, O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore, we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servant David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For you possess the power to turn us, O Lord. We desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Be with us during this class, O Lord, and guide us. Let your understanding and your wisdom and knowledge come forth. Peace be unto you. Okay. Anybody got any comments or questions about the Wednesday night class, Buddhism and Christianity? We had a little mix up on the Q&A. Anybody got any comments or questions about that? Okay. So what we're gonna do is this video is right at 2 hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play break it down in 4 sections, 30-minute sections, and we're gonna break each 30-minute section down all the way down, because like I said, what we're dealing with is to set the foundation for what's going on is we're dealing with Egypt. And so we know that in Genesis chapter 6, these fallen angels came down, and in Genesis chapter 6. But what nobody seems to know is that Shalom. Nobody seems to know is that happened in Egypt. Genesis chapter 6 happened in Egypt. So I'm gonna read that to set the stage. And you got to keep that in mind during the next 3 classes, that these angels came down, and they came down in Egypt, which was called, some people call it Kemet, some call it Melanin, which is the name of one of Ham's sons, which is a giant. And the only way you get a giant is from an angel. So that's that's let you know right there where they came down at. But I'm gonna read it right quick. It says, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So on this side of our understanding, we already know that all through history, especially last 2,500 years, they've been digging up giants, the skeletons of giants all over the place. So that's the evidence right here to verify what the Most High saying right here. If they find a giant, still find them. They find some with two double rows of teeth, and so that's evident. We're looking right at it right now that we know that this Genesis chapter 6 happened. And so my thing is like I said, so many people don't know where this happened at. And I'm telling you that it happened in Genesis chapter 6. And the evidence is in Genesis chapter 10. It says in chapter 10, verse 6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. And we know that Mizraim is a giant because of that I am on in his name. But if you go on down to we know that it was giants all over the land of Canaan. And so let me break that down right quick. So I'm showing you that there were giants in Egypt and there was giants in the land of Canaan, where it was two encouragers of these fallen angels. As a group came down with Satan, and he was kicked out. Then there's another group that came down in Genesis chapter 6, and then right after that, they came down to Mount Hermon after the flood. It came down. Well, another group came down in Genesis chapter 6, and then a group came down with Satan before Genesis 1 and 1. They was kicked out. So it was two encouragers of them. So we see right here that it's giants all over the land of Canaan, and it's giants that was all over Egypt. And if you look at that, it says at the very beginning that Most High planted a garden eastward of Eden. And then you come to find out that Africa is Eden, and that's the reason why the continent is like it is. It's Eden. And then he planted a garden eastward of Eden. That's the northeast Africa. So we see the giants came down to Egypt, and giants came down in the Middle East, Canaan, land of Canaan. And the reason being that it's called Canaan is that when after the flood, when the land was being divided up by Noah, he gave he gave Canaan the Mesopotamia. But on his way to Mesopotamia, he viewed the land that was given to Shem, and he took it, and he occupied it. That's how Abraham got displaced. That's how the story of Abraham is picked up with him and his father in Mesopotamia. They worshiping idols because it was displaced. And all the Lord of hosts doing is bringing him, the story of Abraham, he's bringing them back to the land that was originally given to him, correcting the problem from what Canaan had did. And so with that being said, like I said, understanding that it's a group of angels came down in Genesis chapter 6, 200. Matter of fact, they came through the portal at Bethel, and they went to Mount Hermon, made a pact. Then they went to they went to Egypt and started taking human women and mating with them. And that's how you got the giants. So with that being said, I'm gonna start this video. Like I said, we're gonna do 30-minute sections, and we're gonna break it all the way down. Okay.
And in order to dig deep into our origins, we have to rely on the mythology. First of all, this word mythology has been used to denote a bunch of untrue sayings or something that's not really valid and stuff. And that's what the white boy does to throw us off. When Gerald Massey tells you natural genesis, the mythology means Mutu, which is truth and spiritual teachings of history. And but they have kind of defunct that. Meanwhile, you can get a PhD in mythology in the European in his school. But yet, we're trained, and those are just saying a bunch of crazy people and all types of stuff like that. So it gives you this particular psychological disadvantage until and not unless you look into this particular science and try to find out that in actuality, they literally tell you basically the history through the mythology. Now, they always tell you that in order to understand ancient Kemet, you're going to have to, fortunately, you're going to have to look at other systems. Why I say that is this. No ancient system comes totally intact with the fragments that you need to really put the complete system together. Also, we must weigh that the white boy that has thousands of our papyrus that we have never seen. We're talking about literally thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe millions of papyruses all over Europe. We haven't even seen it has ample amount of correct history in Kemet alone, because Kemet has more records than anybody. But the good part about that is they have preserved other cultures, and in those other cultures, when you study that, since it's only one knowledge, you can put the pieces together to understand Kemet. Because what we get from Kemet is mostly the solar dynasties, and that's very late. Amid-Ra, or Ra, is a later deity. You have a whole Typhonian culture prior to Kemet that they covered over 200 temples in Nubia just to cover up. But the good part about the Typhonian Egyptians, the Typhonian Kemetans, or the Typhonian Egyptians, developed, rose to their height, and declined even before the first monumental phase of Kemet was even built. Your Typhonian Kamites is the missing link between this Atlantean history that we hear talk about, the Lemurian history, and the prior history. Some people say that's a move. No, you can go and read the Hermetic material of Tahuti, where he said that we come from the antediluvian land, which also means after the flood. But what is this flood? This flood is not necessarily talking about water, because everybody has a flood story. This flood is a metaphysical flood, or a spiritual aspect that is trying to tell you something about a prior history of the earth.
Yeah, so is that the truth? There wasn't no, it's not talking about water? Anybody? Okay.
The Kamites are the ancient indigenous African, or whatever you want to call them, Camamorians. That's one of the names, Camamorian, Black Amorian. That's an ancient Egyptian or an ancient name for the original people. The Alchemorian. All these different names. They tell you that the earth went through a different phase. The earth was not always physical. The physical was the last phase and the recent phase. They were in a prior state, as if you get Rudolf Steiner's Universe, Earth, and Man. Let's say if you say, well, some people say, I want to get some type of literature that I could somewhat understand this type of stuff. Get Rudolf Steiner's Universe, Earth and Man, or Rudolf Steiner's Cosmic Memory. Those two books. I think both of them are still in print. He gives a good synopsis on this thing. Whereas at one time in this spiritual realm, the physical realm was invisible or a fog. And the spiritual realm where we came from and dwelled in was visible. As the vibratory rate fell, as you can get in the Hermetic material, especially in the Kabbalion, the three initiates, not the Kabbalah, but Kabbalion by the three initiates, which is coming from Hermetic material mainly.
Yeah, I want to stop there right there. I want to show you one of the reasons why I'm decided I do this. Okay, I ain't know nothing about none of this what this guy doing, but look at this. He just mentioned that book, right? Check this out. Here it is. What are you talking about? Why in the hell, why would I be having it? You know what I'm saying? Why would I have it? You know what I'm saying? When you finish this class right here, you're going to see how way out there that is. Everybody can't talk about this. But way back in the day, I had this book, and I can't even remember where I got it from. But you just mentioned it.
The divine commander. It goes in to tell you that everything is on a certain vibration. And vibrations, when they slow down, the molecules become condensed. So we were on another vibrational frequency. And as the vibration fell, we became more and more condensed into the physical bodies and the physical realm. So Egypt just didn't, believe it or not, Kemet or Africa or these places didn't just occur where they just, you know, with some hunting and gathering, all that little shit, some hunting and gathering stuff like that. No. Hell, we black people are sophisticated as hell and can't do nothing now, period. Let alone some half-ape man and stuff, because I don't buy that. That's Darwin. And I beg to differ. Any African scholar say we come from apes, because I have the same scholarship, and I don't see it. And a lot of the stuff that they think is apes and stuff is metaphysical things. It has nothing to do with us coming from no damn apes. We never came from no apes. The Camites never say, so why can't we believe what black people say, and we got to believe what some damn cracker say, who was commissioned to talk about this particular ape thing to throw off the history of the black man. I told you that in the Nephilim book. First couple pages of the Nephilim book.
Notice his wording now. He's talking about Nephilim. Then he said the man came from a primordial place that's spiritual. Well, we know Yah is spiritual. And these 7 names he created is spiritual. So keep in mind, he you know, it ain't but that's a primitive word, Nephilim. And the Tanakh and the books Jashan and Jubilees tell you what Nephilim is. Ain't but one source where Nephilim came from.
That book. So that was a conspiracy. You see what I'm saying? And in order for you to be accepted in collegiate circles, outside of the theological side of things, you got to bear with this whole Darwin theory. You see what I'm saying? And I think that was the tragedy of some of the Afrocentric scholars with that bullshit. We didn't come from none of them fucking hominid stages. Some people say, well, if we have those bones. Yeah, we got those bones. That's just different species of ape, but that don't have shit to do with us. Now, as far as some of the information coming from London, England, about a month or 2 months before Christmas, where the white boy is being witnessed, that we come from a form of miscegenation. And this miscegenation can be linked to all white races. So it's the ultimate key to white races. And he goes on to say that the entire white race came from a white ape. And he goes on to say that these Africans corrupted themselves in Africa by mating with apes. And as a result, they created this white man. This is how the white people are putting this shit about the missing link. Now, I happen to know of other history, and we're getting off the thing, but I just want to drop that. Basically, we're talking about a form of gene splicing.
Yeah, cool.
Because we were that advanced. Because I'll give you the ultimate mystery of what Egyptian spirituality was in a minute. Now, that's another thing, but let's go back into this. When we came into the physical realm, we were already advanced. And we enjoyed thousands of years of civilization based on nature. But by no means were we hunting and gathering and was not very advanced. At that particular time, we had the full detailed files of knowledge of the universe, the omniverse, and worlds to come, and prior worlds already in us.
Let's look at that. I'm going to read something right quick. It says, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 5, every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man until the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground, and the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And we read over that, but he says, we're going to see in a minute what the soul is. He said, man became a living soul. So he just said, it ain't no Darwin process. When we came into existence, we came into existence knowing about all Most High creation and everything. And it's right here what I just read. It says in chapter 2, verse 7, and the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So we're going to see in a minute what the soul is and what the breath of life is.
We had TV sets, but not necessarily TV sets that you would know of as tubes and all that. Everything that we had it in the detailed files in our mind.
Mm.
We had a complete system of everything that there was that came equipped with every African on the planet. We could communicate with each other, what you call now clairvoyance. You know what I'm saying? Telepathy. Those are mild. You see what I'm saying? We can travel to several places at one time just by standing still. All this through the melanin context. Now, like I said in other lectures, I often wondered why is it that Africa, the rest of Africa didn't build the large monuments like Kemet. It wasn't until I got into the esoteric science that I understood in all this that Africans had detailed files. The Kemet and the large monuments was only necessary when they understood that based on the lowering of the vibratory rate, that they would become more and more condensed into the physical body and become more and more reliant on the five senses. And the other senses would become dormant because of the vibratory rate in the cycle. So it was a race between time. It was a race between time that they had to go in, build these large monuments, and record the detailed files that's already in the African mind onto papyrus and large temple walls and statues and all types of different aspects. Even on the chairs they had they recorded things. Hold on there. So it was a race against time. So Kemet's entire history was to record what was inside of the African, or if you want to put it, Atlantean, or the ancient black person's mind. And as a result, you get everything from inner. Education is to draw out. And you get everything. You see what I'm saying? With Kemet, and we're going to go into some of that, because what was the ultimate goal? Why also ultimately did they have to do this? You had a question? Okay. In so many words, they understood that this vibratory rate and the physical realm would only last for a couple of million years. And in actuality, we would have to go to a new plateau, or as Reverend Valentine said, a paradigm shift. And they spent their lives preparing for this. They spent their lives preparing for this. As we talked about this morning, that's why death was so important and the afterlife was so important. Wasn't necessarily some selfish thing they wanted to take things in the afterlife. That was symbolic of some higher mysteries, of some higher mysteries. One of those mysteries has something to do with reincarnation. Reincarnation has to deal with the fact that if you die and don't have a certain amount of knowledge, you can be caught in an endless cycle of reincarnations until you learn that knowledge, or if you had a certain amount of knowledge until you gain it back. If you don't have a training to preserve yourself beyond the physical body. So
I want to inject something out right quick. So we saw from the Wednesday night class dealing with the with Buddhism and doing a comparison contrast of Buddhism and Christianity, that the Buddhists believe in reincarnation. Mm-hmm. Now we see that Egyptians too. So keep that in mind.
The whole thing of lining the tombs up with all this writing and all this particular stuff is so the person who was dying could understand who he was and be conscious of who he was, so he could make a certain transition and don't have to go to the light to recycle himself back down here as an idiot. We'll go into that. We'll go into that in a few minutes. So
yeah, another thing is we was dealing with Buddhism. It said that nirvana is 3 fires in Buddhism, and you have to extinguish those 3 fires in order to reach nirvana. One of the fires was ignorance. Now we see right here, he's saying, reincarnation is dealing with, you have to keep coming back. If you haven't learned nothing, you're ignorant. So we know that the Israelites were dealing with the angels. All our forefathers were dealing with angels. They wasn't ignorant. They was dealing with the angels. The angel was telling them everything that was going on, and even giving them advanced understanding of things to come. And then they would prophesy about it, and then they waited on it to happen.
So that's one aspect of it. But let me get into some of the science of what this thing is really about. Most of the Afrocentric scholars, by understanding only the historical side, they talked about Maya and the whole thing being one with nature, and some of that is evident. Yes, they were one with nature, and they showed those particular forms of that, but I think on the other hand, they showed the African nature and the animals also as an element to explain the different aspects of mythology that explains even a higher science. Now, the ultimate science
Here we go.
of killing in spirituality that they figured out was this. Number one, if anybody ever asked you what is the royal art of ancient Egypt, there is one science, and this is the mystery to everything right here.
Okay.
There is one science that explains all religions and what all religions are alluding to. That later on, for thousands of years later, it got misconstrued, and those religions don't even resemble what those mystery systems, because we didn't have a religion, understood. Ultimately, now we understand that the mystery systems were instrumental in giving us what you call basic education. But the Afrocentric scholars didn't understand that that was just one facet of it. This thing was multi-dimensional. It was multi-dimensional. The ultimate mystery that is behind all religions is alchemy.
Science. Alchemy.
And no people developed the art of alchemy as the Egyptians or the Canaanites. Even the word alchemy, al, which means S-U-N, sun.
So let's look at that right quick. He said the Canaanites. So I keep on saying this over and over again, hoping that it's registered. He said that the Israelites, his people, Lord of hosts talking, my people oftentimes went down into Egypt, and the Egyptian oppressed him. Who is the Egyptian? Who is the Egyptian? Same right here, same people. Who are they? That's Melanin. Melanin is a giant. How you get a giant? You get a giant from a fallen angel sleeping with women. That's why I'm showing you that Genesis chapter 6 happened in Egypt. And the giants all over Egypt. And so that's how you get it. So they oppressed the Israelites. It wasn't, let me get my Bible right quick. So it wasn't, we're going somewhere. So Genesis chapter 10, it says it wasn't Cush or Put. It was Melanin because he's a giant. And like I said, I alluded to it earlier, but I didn't finish it. Starting at verse 13, Melanin begot Ludum, and Ludum begot Anam, all the giants, all the way down to 20. Them all giants. That's who oppressed the Israelite. So these the people right here that he's talking about. He associating them as regular men, but these are giants, and we know that they receiving characteristics from their fathers, which is angels. That's why he's talking about the science and all this and the mystery system, because these ain't no regular men. But we're gonna keep going. Let me hit you with something else for while I'm gonna jet this right quick too while we're here. Before I keep going. Let me put this up here right quick. So in the beginning, the Most High. Let me get this off here. So in the beginning, right here, see these? These are. See what it's saying? It says Anaki, Elohim, Nephilim. You get Nephilim from a fallen angel sleeping with a woman. So he's telling you right here, Nephilim. I just showed you in Genesis chapter 10, from 13 all the way to 20, a giant. So look here. But this is the thing. You've heard these names before. Inky, Leo, all them, right? But the thing I want to show you is, look at that what they got. You think there's a coincidence? They got 7? It's 7. And then how many did the Most High created? 7 angels over them. So this is where all this coming from. The brothers not understanding, but like I said, look at them. We finna go all the way in on this. But look at that. Melanin. They're melanin. It's melanin. They melanin. They dealing with it. But look at that. They ain't just melanin. They spooks. And so when you go to, let me do this right quick. So when you go to Ezekiel right quick. So this is what the Most High doing. Just like he said, it's whether everybody understanding that it's scientific and it's alchemical and all that. Well, that's what the Most High is. He told you, don't let your sons marry their daughters, and don't let your daughters marry don't let your sons marry their daughters, and your daughters marry their sons. Why? Because the DNA part of it. But from what he created, he's a scientist, and he don't want nobody intermingling and tangling up his what he created. It's the DNA that's in him. But we're gonna find out there's another source that he put in there when he said he breathed a breath of life in them. But so yeah, let me start back. I lost that track of what I was saying. But anyway, so we see right here these these fallen angels. That's who teaching the Egyptians. I showed you that it was on Genesis 1:26, he created a man and a woman, 6-day man. Then on the chapter 2, I just read where he formed the man. And this man didn't have no woman. And this man that was over the planet. He dealing with the angels and all that. And then all of a sudden, when these angels came down in Genesis chapter 6, the man over there in 1:26, these fallen angels and gave them all this knowledge right here and put crowns on their head. And in Jasher, he talks about that. He says, they went to praying to the Lord of hosts and asked him, he said, what's over these people you gave us? Said that now they done lifted their heads up over us. That's because these fallen angels came down and gave them all this knowledge. And they was no longer wanted to be subject to Adam's seed. So we're gonna keep going.
S-O-N, son, and it also means God. Chemy, which means black. Alchemy means basically the black sun. It is the study of the substance called melanin.
Here we go.
In its biological form, but in its spiritual form, it is the study of every primordial substance in the universe, on earth, and some stuff that's even outside of the universe, which is the ultimate manifestation, and the crystallizing stone that put all of these particular substances of the universe together to make a new reality. And from that alchemical process that we'll get into in a few minutes, you get magic, you get divination, you get necromancy, dealing with the dead, you get all forms of metaphysics, understanding everything, but all of that comes back down to one aspect, is alchemy. And ultimately those gods was alchemical gods. The god Tahuti
I just showed you
is the god of wisdom and the god of knowledge, and he is the ultimate symbol of alchemy. Your staff and your caduceus was not the medical symbol. That's where it came based on Greece. Your staff and your caduceus represented, number one, the ultimate spirit of man, as well as it represented the ultimate spirit of symbol of alchemy.
So Enoch tells us that once they came down, they had no need to go into a woman because they was eternal beings. And so Enoch tells you that once they committed that act and went into a woman, they became perverted. And then they couldn't ascend no more back to heaven. So this is what you're dealing with. This was in Egypt. These fallen angels. Like I said before, it got all of them. They got a name. The name tell you what they do, and then they over certain things. When he was talking about his angels over snow, angels over this, and angels over that. They're scientists. They know everything there is to know about rain or whatever it is he had them over. And now they down here on the earth, bound here because they can't go back up to heaven because they didn't defile themselves. That's what's in Egypt. Okay, and they melanate. Let me read this. I just found out what I was trying to go to right quick. We're gonna go all the way in. If we don't get number 30 minutes out of it. So and so like he said, it's the melanin. So not to waste no time, that's what he took from Cain. When the Most High cursed somebody in the Bible, he take the melanin back from them. That's what he breathed into Adam. So when he took the melanin from him, what you get? You get white. That's why the melanin is what caused you to have dark skin. It's a gift. So when Cain killed his brother, he took the melanin from him and left Cain white. We found that out when they released the book of Lamech, confirmed. So anyway, I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1. So it says right here, and the Most High is he telling you right in your face, but because of, like the guy was just saying, we've been hoodwinked with addition of the New Testament and focusing in on Jesus, and you ain't reading everything what you need to read. So he says, I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 5. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. See, he's telling you what their appearance was. Well, we reading over this. And they had the likeness of a man. Everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. And their feet, look at this, and their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet was like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. That's black, blue black, like I just showed you. Burnished brass. That's the melanin that's in them. So why are they more? Why are they more? We are lesser beings than them. They got a more melanin than we got. Melanin is the substance. That's where all the power and the might and all that coming from. Okay, so let's keep going. We had 20 minutes, so we got like 10 more minutes on this.
We'll get into alchemy and what this thing is talking about in a few minutes. The Moors, in order to understand some of these things, we'll go to some disciplines first, then we'll go back to chemistry so you can understand. The Moors, which was a combination of priests that went up into Europe. They had no really interest in Islam. They just understood that by these priests understanding that religion can be like a political system. They just united under one banner, Islam. But they were Camite priests, ancient Kushite Arabian priests.
Yeah, let's look at that. So I showed you it was two encouragements to happen. It happened with the fallen angels. The first encouragement was Satan, and the third angel was kicked out with him. Well, who was the angel that was kicked out with him? Satan was the high priest. That was the priesthood. That was kicked out. So what they do? They came down to the earth. They priests. What was set up in Egypt? It's a priesthood. And he just told you the same priesthood ended up over in Europe. Moors. Where they getting this knowledge from? The priesthood that failed. The third angel that came down with Satan. Fiery flying serpents. And he told them in Genesis chapter, in Ezekiel that he said Satan used to walk up and down in the coals in heaven. He's the high priest. And then we're going to get into another thing about when he was telling them about, he described them, he said it was diamonds and carbuncles, all these different type of precious stones in him. And so you're going to assume that it's, he got these diamonds in his back, stuck in his back or something, but we're going to see what he's talking about in a minute.
Which was the black element, which even Muhammad's father knew about. When we go into the Arab thing, we'll talk a little bit about that. And they went up into Europe, and they introduced certain amount of these disciplines. What are these disciplines that we talk about ancient Egyptian spirituality? Well, you can find them now in the relationship in the esoteric field, and what white people have done is basically put a white face on all these disciplines. The Moors introduced the tarot cards. Now, the tarot cards are literally picture windows of melanin and the frame of the soul.
Yeah.
And from that, you can use divination for it. But divination is the secondary of the minor aspect, where you can read the cards and find out person.
So Mosiah said, Mosiah, we know in the scriptures, Mosiah said that was wicked. And he said when he come back, he gonna deal with all them. So who brought all that here? When these angels went into the women, they became perverted. We know they ended up all out in the running down elephants and giraffes, sleeping with them, all in the ocean, sleeping with whales and all that. They can do that. And so they became perverted. So they didn't took this melanin, which is a God gene, and they didn't show these people they didn't pervert it. That's where all this coming from. It's a perverted version of it. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and all them, they're not doing that. But these angels, they fallen. And they down here, stuck down here on the earth with humans.
Future by divine, but you could also do that with cowrie shells that the Africans, you see what I'm saying? And with pennies or anything else. So that's one aspect, but the major arcana and the minor arcana of the tarot cards in actuality is trying to explain the alchemical process of the soul as well as melanin. Mm-hmm. From your playing cards in the Moorish science, from your tarot cards in the Moorish science, you also get your playing cards. Because we hear all the stuff that the Moors introduce. We'll give you some stuff that they introduce that you don't know about, based on spiritual aspect. They introduced several aspects of alchemy into Europe. And they introduced mythology to go along with that, just like the Egyptian mythology went along with alchemy. Alchemy is taking the black substance and crystallizing it into a primordial light seed. The black substance starts off in Kemet as Osiris, or Osea, god of the perfect black.
Ain't no man know all this.
And from that black, the phoenix rises up from the ashes, and his soul returns as his son, Horus, Heru, purified, light coming out of blackness. You see what I'm saying? Yang coming out of yin. The Moors travel up and they give you the whole Grail mythology, King Arthur and the Round Table, which is nothing but Osiris, and all of that, which later on the British faked and said it was British history, trying to claim royalty. I want to stick with this Moor thing right because it will explain some of the occult realms that you understand right now that go all the way back to Kemet. So your rune system, where they throw those little runes and they got those things as a form of divination, that comes out of Kemet by way of the Moors. Several magical texts that you see in Europe. Your Boasian system, the greater key of Solomon, the lesser key of Solomon. One is dealing with astronomy and astrology. Another one is dealing with the inner components of the mind and of your body. All types of magical texts. Now, what happened is these texts was a major part. Your Kabbalah, your Zohar, which is your Zohar, which is your Kabbalistic system. All that came from the temple of Komodo and Kemet to the later on ended up in Spain and given to.
So I'm connecting all the dots because we already talked about this. Like I said, the foundation been laid. We're going all the way in now. So he said the Zohar and Kabbalah, all that. Who dealing with that? Edomites. The Edomites. Who was the Edomites? They merged with with Japhet and became Edom. But the 29th dynasty in Egypt, that's who that was. It was Greece. The 29th dynasty was Greece. So they came and they got this knowledge. And they came and they went into Europe with it. So he just told you right here, Spain. Well, I told you what happened in 70 AD with Herod's lineage. They gave them safe passage in Spain. Well, what come out of Spain? The Nina Pina and the Santa Marina. and they ended up over here in America. Then from there, transatlantic slave trade. Okay.
Converted Jews.
See that?
Which is the Europeans. And then they cultivated it and try to claim it's their own.
But watch this.
You see what I'm saying? So your Zohar is first introduced into Spain. Introduced into Spain, which is the Kabbalah, which basically your Lubavitcher Jews use. Also, too, if you want to get a sense on what they deal with, you go get the movie, this movie called A Stranger Among Us with Melanin Griffith. And just notice what all that about your Lubavitcher Jews, this stuff here, wearing the black. They studied the Kabbalah. All kinds of magical texts. I mean, it's unbelievable. Just about all the metaphysical things you see in these bookstores. How the white people able to get all this metaphysical stuff? They got it because they cultivated all this Moorish history, and basically those 16 universities that was left behind, the stuff that wasn't destroyed, the European, it became the property of different secret societies. So they put in place secret societies. We talked about this in the last video, but this is interesting because we understand that the Moors put these secret societies in Europe because they understood that also Africa was deteriorating, it was old, and it had to go to sleep. But they raised the European up because look how what kind of devil he was with education. And what you think if he didn't have nothing, everything would be lost forever. So you have to give somebody something so you can preserve something. So they're only the custodians of our knowledge because they can't use it ultimately. Just the minor aspect. But the people,
so why they can't use it? Melanin. They don't have no melanin. That's why they can't use it. They got the perverted side of it from these fallen angels, which started in Egypt, but they can't use it. They can't really use it, or like the Egyptians was using it because of they lacking melanin. Well, we're gonna go into that in a minute. We get to this 30-minute mark.
The reason why I say that is because I wanted to give you this particular information on what happened with the educational system. All of this magical stuff, this alchemical component, used to be the major part of spirituality in your mathematics and your physics and your all the stuff that you get in basic education now, what you call Western education now, used to be the physical component of these spiritual disciplines. More like the byproduct of something that's greater knowledge, paradox of higher knowledge. You're just getting the physical science. And basically, the secret societies, when they set up their educational system, after gaining both sides and learning both sides from the Moors, what they did was that they decided they was going to separate one system from the other. So they give you the byproduct, which is only on the mundane,
right,
social, economical, physical laws, you see what I'm saying, and chemical aspect, and they keep the alchemical spiritual aspect, and that's only studied in the lodges. As you see what I'm saying, as an educational system, and then the rest of it is in your metaphysical bookstores, but they understand that most people, this is not a literate society, it's an illiterate society, one that can read but don't read.
Yes, and so these Edomites, they over there, so this knowledge, wealth come with it. You know, that's why Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was wealthy. They had they was dealing with these angels. They had knowledge. And so that you automatically wealth come with it. So like he did with Solomon. So these boys right here, these Edomites, synagogue of Satan, they over there at 12, 13, 10 years old, dealing with this stuff right here. He just told you that it's separated and keeping it secret, keeping it in these lodges where these Edomites, these Edomites you're looking at, it's over there bobbing on the walls over there in Israel. They waking up every morning, 7, 8, 9 years old, dealing with this type of information. We walking around bumping into each other, running and bumping into each other because it's been separated from us because of the curses. Okay.
So in so many words, going back to ancient Kemet, and what's happening with most scholars is we can't bridge the difference because we don't let the white boy convince us that his educational system is the way to go, even when we look at things black.
Right.
There's other spiritual aspects that we don't even tap into.
Right.
You have any? You have some other questions?
Thinking like a Hebrew.
I mean, as far as did you want to get answer?
Okay, so that's the 30-minute mark. So what I'm gonna do right here now, we're gonna go into what melanin is, all the way in on what melanin is. Okay, so here go melanin molecule right here. This is the source of everything. And so the difference in this right here, when I read to you about what he did to the man, he made a man, he formed him, he created a man and woman on Genesis 1:26, rested, kept the Shabbat, came back on the 8th day, and he formed the man. Then he says he breathed in him the breath of life, and he became a living soul. This is it. It's melanin. That's out everywhere. Like he said, the melanin is way out past the outer space. It's way, when you look up in the sky, it's with melanin. So melanin is in everything. So when he cursed Cain, let's look at it. Let's look at it. I'm gonna read it right quick. Then you're gonna get the understanding of what's going on. So he says, in chapter 4, verse 10, and he said, "What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother crieth unto me from the ground. Now thou art cursed from the earth." We're gonna see what he done. Cursed from the earth, which opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood at thy hand. The earth is oozing with melanin. The woman, that's the Most High woman, the earth. And when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto her strength. The melanin, right? A fugitive and a vagabond shall I be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from the face of the earth shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slept Cain's vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon him, lest anyone find him be turning white. He took the melanin out of him. And we know he did that to Miriam, but Moses was there. And Moses interceded and prayed for him, and he left outside the camp for 7 days and put the melanin back in him. But Cain, he took it out. And that's why Cain said he came back at it, because he'd been disconnected from the whole universe and the earth and everything else, because the melanin been taken from him. So let's go back to the breaking down this melanin. So you see this is a melanin molecule right here, right? So let's look at it. Now, take in mind that this is a white man talking right here. He says that a lack of melanin is directly related to the malfunction of the central nervous system. Melanin forms a network between all the spiritual material planes of the cosmos. He didn't say the earth. Look, he says melanin, right, forms a network between all the spiritual material planes of the cosmos. This the God gene. This is what the Most High put in Adam. And so this is why he keep on telling you that you can't intermingle with anybody and everybody. Don't let your sons marry their daughters. So now, you know, like I said, I don't want to ruffle no feathers, but so now when you understand this right here, why would you go dealing with somebody that don't look like you? Because you're going to limit them. You're going to limit the child. Okay? So anyway, so let's go, keep going. So here go another one. We're going to go all the way in. Here go another one right here. You got to understand reason why you look the way you look. So it says right here, melanin is important because it's the most primitive, look at this, most primitive and universal pigment in living organisms. Melanin is produced in the pineal gland. That's what we got to go to. So he's going to talk about that in the next 30 minutes. So the pineal gland is up in your forehead, right here. It's called the third eye. They say the eye of Horus, but it's that pineal gland produces the melanin that's in our bodies. And the brother just told you that that's what it's all about. And the melanin is way is beyond the cosmos. That's the difference in us and all other people. So he says, melanin controls all mental. Look at this. Melanin controls all mental and physical body activities. Melanin is an extremely stable molecule. Look at that. So we got Negroes unstable. Why? Look at this. He says melanin is an extremely stable molecule and highly resistant to the digestion by most acids and bases, and is one of the hardest molecules to ever be analyzed. It can't analyze it because it ain't got nothing to do with them. So it says, if you do not purify your melanin molecule, you will not heal your body of diseases. Melanin gives black people more superior physical, mental, and spiritual ability. That explains to you now why we so different, why we so hated. Black melanin is necessary. Black melanin is necessary in order for humans to reproduce. Melanin is at present at the except. Look at this. Melanin is present at the inception of life when the sperm go to the egg, and melanin sheath covers both the sperm. Look at this. The melanin goes to the sperm and the egg in the human embryo, and the melanocytes, brain and nerve systems all originate from the same place. The neural crest. Melanocytes resemble nerve cells and are essential for conveying energy. So what is he telling us? I told you over and over again through the process since we've been on this line that all you gotta do is get you some Kool-Aid and a chair and sit on the side of the highway and watch it. Look, every car come by with white folks in it, is a retard in there. You're looking out the back window. Why? Because it's like a melanin. That's why they got a nervous birth rate. And so when our creator, he deal with science. Well, why we can't see all these damn signs? Like the brother said, they gave you dealing with I did an add on to the Tanakh, Jesus the Christ. He ain't got nothing to do with us, but you all caught up in that, and you can't see none of this. You can't see the Most High got signs out there. There's something ain't right with these people, and then and it ain't nothing something ain't right with they knowledge. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. So anyway, so we're gonna keep going. So we're gonna all weigh in on the melanin. Okay, so we know who this guy is right here, and now we're gonna know why he dead too. So it says melanin is a belief. See that? It's a belief, not a reality. The OSHA research disregards the word melanin. See, so we already told because they're giving us all these cyborgs. It says disregard the word melanin. If melanin determines life, why is it then that when people come to us with nerve problems, with energy problems, we give them the substance known as iron, which is a mineral, straining that iron with carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The CHO chain is a chain of life. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Melanin has no place in that biochemical structure. Melanin is not a mineral. Melanin is a word. Look at this. They tell you, they say JC is a word. It says melanin is a word that was used to describe a certain biological function, but that particular identification or category or theme, melanin, is a European identification of what they think activates those neurons in our bodies that makes us black. When you break down our body or biological structure into what we would have to put it into, which is biochemistry, melanin has no place. It is not to be found. What is found in the body that is attributed to melanin is carbon, right? Carbon not only determines the quality of life in the black folks, carbon determines the quality of life in every living plant. That's what he just told. He's going to tell you again when we started back, that exists, that is natural. So this is what he took out of Cain. If carbon is absent, there is no life. And so most I tell you is the people out there that ain't a people. This is what he's talking about. You're a scientist. Okay? So let's look at it. I'm gonna read it again. He says, Ezekiel. Like I say, you can't even begin to think about trying to read the Bible if you don't understand all this stuff. So it says, or even coming. Look at this. Chapter 1. It says, I'm gonna read it again. Chapter 1, verse 5. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance, and they had the likeness of a man. Everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet was like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished brass. So Ezekiel letting you know what's going on, because you don't know all this. You read it and you keep on going. But they burnished black, they blue black, they melanin oozing out of them. That's the difference in them and us. We got certain doses of them. So anyway, he says we're gonna keep going. So the brother told you right here is carbon. That's the substance. They didn't nickname it melanin, but just for the sake of understanding, we said melanin, but he didn't broke it down and told you it's the carbon. When you look up in the night skies, what you see? Black carbon. And then brother just told you it's all over the place. These fallen angels know that. It's all over the place. So anyway, so when the Most High got a problem with somebody, that's what the first thing you do. You take the melanin from them. That's what curse means. Okay? So he did it with Gehazi. Elijah's servant. So here we go. Going all the way in. It says there are 2 types of melanin present in black bodies. There are 2 types of melanin present in the black body. Neuromelanin and enomelanin. Melanin is produced by the melanosomes in highly specialized cells called melanocytes. So you gotta understand that this in us. It's not in them. You can't have, if you ain't got no melanin, you ain't got no melanocytes. So this is what the Most High talking about. So the quality of the melanin is controlled by the battery-like catalyst called I don't know the name of that. Melanin observes all energy in the electromagnetic spectrum. This informs the continual development of the universe and intelligence as a black body geophysically interacts with the universe. See that? He's saying the universe. See, not America or Europe. He's saying because it's melanin, you interacting with the universe. This energy, I can't see that word, enhances the production and refines of the vitamin D. African people have the highest level of available vitamin D. Calcium is vitamin D in the final operated form. The creation of this calcium, I guess it is regulated by the I can't say that word anyway, which is also found in the highest levels among Africans. Increases the level of, I can't say these words, in the blood, which leads to a stronger mineral bone density among Africans. Scientifically, melanin is the greatest gift of the human biology. See that? So it says melanin is the greatest gift of the human biology. So who gave it out? Yeah. The greatest gift we could have gave us was the melanin. And you got Negroes running around, don't even want it. But it's the greatest gift he gave us. It's that's what makes us what we are. Like I said, we so much different than them. So I'm gonna show you in a minute how wicked these people are. But anyway, so let me throw this up here just for GP. Okay. Oh. Chew on that for a minute. So we're gonna roll with this right here. And then I'm gonna show you the other picture and we're gonna go into the next 30 minutes. So we're gonna melt this. See that right here? This is a system right here. So the melanin that's in us is a system in us, but it ain't in them. If you ain't got melanin, then this system ain't in you. You ain't got melanin. So it says, look what it do is physical properties, retain youth, motor skills, uh, nutrient absorption, disease protection, neutralizes toxin, prevents the spread of damaged cells, spreads nerve impulses, absorbs full spectrum of light. See that? That's for the physical properties, mental properties, enhances memory, increases communication, enhances feelings, enhances creativity, emotional properties, estrogen connection, spiritual properties, sun connection. See that? See that right here? Spiritual property. What's it? The first thing they say about us? We spiritual people. So this, all this, what you read, what you doing right here, this melanin system, this is what he breathed in Adam. And Adam became a living soul. Right here. Okay. So with that being said, now anybody on the line that's been dealing with the book of Enoch know they told us that, and you have to let this sink in. You know what I'm saying? So they tell you that Enoch went, Lamech went to inquire about his son. He had a son. His son was Noah. He said Noah was born albino. And then he said Noah went to go find out from Enoch what had happened, what was up with his son, why he different than why he looked different, and he say that he told him that he was special. And then he says when he opened his eyes, it shined over the whole room. Well, let me go albino right here. You chew on this. You chew on it. There go albino right there. Look at that, man. Look at that. Think about that. And now, so like I was saying before, you can't take nothing what these people tell you what you read. You got to pray to the Most High for discernment. See that? Look at that. How in the hell is that? Look at this. Then look at that. How in the hell is he? Is that he righteous and holy and all that? And then you said he albino. He albino. Is something wrong? Look at it. See, something wrong. But he telling you in the book of Enoch that Noah was born albino with blue eyes and it shine all over the room. He was righteous. Come on. All right. So yeah, we're gonna open it up for the comments right quick before we go to the next any questions. I'm gonna bring the people up. Anybody got anything?
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, you said that the Edomites were keepers of our knowledge, and ultimately they won't be able to use the knowledge.
Right.
So, what about other melanated people like Africans? And so, some of them are even darker than us, so they are really melanated. So, will they be able to use the knowledge?
Well, it's like a flashlight. You know it can shine light in the dark, but you don't have no batteries in it. Can it shine light in the dark?
No.
So they got all the knowledge, like you just said. They got all the knowledge. They done hoarded it up in these things. So you got melanated people around there, but don't have the mechanics to what the melanin is, how to use it, and all that. They got all of it locked down in the Vatican. They understand it, our books. They just, like you said, they gave us some. What they gave us as far as our writings is to lead you to the New Testament, the JC, which is an idol. We ain't got the understanding of who we are and and what we capable of doing, and how we these are like I was telling you before, these men know how to go and summon these angels and call on them. They know how to do all that. We don't know how to do that. And so now when you understand why he said he's gonna kick us out, of the land, and he says we're gonna go in the land that our forefathers knew not, and we're gonna serve gods our forefathers knew not. He didn't say we going over there and serve his son or serve nobody like him. He said we're gonna serve other gods, newly raised up gods. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Exactly. But my point is that you said that the melanated people were eventually going to be the ones, when this knowledge is released, the melanated people are going to be the ones who will be able to use this knowledge. But, and I was saying, what about other nations of melanated people? Or are we as Israelites, will we be the only ones to be able to use the knowledge?
Right, but the other nations, like I was saying before, Ham was got caught up with the Egyptians and these fallen angels and the giants, and they perverted them. So they got knowledge of dealing with melanin and all that. But like he was telling you about the magic and tarot cards and all that, that's a perverted version of how to use it. But if he says the Most High tells us all through the Tanakh, only Israel I gave the oracles his knowledge. Only Israel got it.
Oh, okay.
And that's been taken away from us.
So also, you said something about the defects, the absence of melanin or the dilution of the melanin causes defects.
Right.
Okay. So I'm asking again, what about the Israelites breeding with the Africans, because they are two very melanated people? So, I mean, what about that breeding? And
well, he said he tells us over and over again, and this is what we're not understanding, that you got other melanated people, but the Most High tells us the Canaanites was melanated. But he says don't mingle with them, because they got not only do they have melanin in them, but they got other stuff where they didn't been intermingling from down through the ages. And so when you understand when he created Adam, when you intermingle with somebody, that melanin gonna snatch on all that. Now you got a person that's got all these other attributes tied to him. And that melanin going. Let me give you an example right quick. What I'm talking about. I just had it up here. See this right here? See this? Oh, let me put it up there. Hold on. Let me open the screen up. So let me take people off here. Okay, see that? That's a melanin molecule. But look, we got, see that? We got what they call that albinoism attached to it. See over here? So how did they get there? Well, if most of our turn came white, and then you end up in a meeting with them now, that into your it added it to the whoever this person was, it's been added to their DNA. That's what we're talking about Yaakov to figure that out. And he know how to neutralize and bring it out. But when he made Adam, this wasn't there. That's why he said don't intermingle with him, because it's gonna take in everything that you unclean, everything that you're dealing with. The melanin gonna take it in. It's a life source within itself, within the human body, and it's a gift. Okay, yeah.
Thank you. That answered my question.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, fantastic. Okay. First of all, I gotta say, wow. Okay.
Okay.
Number two, The gentleman said something about the Europeans were custodians of our knowledge, but they could not use it.
Right.
They couldn't use it. Okay. They couldn't use it because they're Europeans.
They lacking melanin. So like I was saying, we have a pineal gland. That pineal gland is a portal. So he told Miriam, and he told Aaron to come out in front of the tent. He said, everybody else from the beginning of the time up until now, I dealt with them with dreams and visions. But Moses talked to face. How he deal with them with dreams and visions? Through the pineal gland. That's what the melanin there for, so he interacting and dealing with them through that. So you say, what are you talking about? When Gabriel came to Daniel, what did Daniel do? He flipped out and with the vibrating and fell out on the ground and he went limp, couldn't move. So what's going on? The source then showed up, and he went limp. And so what did Gabriel have to do? Lay hands on him so he can give him his strength back and stand up.
Right.
That's the melanin. That's how he dealing with them. So you got somebody like Cain or somebody that have no melanin. They can have all the knowledge they want, but they can't actually use it the way it's supposed to be used, because melanin has to be present for you to be able to do what you got to do. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, like I told you, Michael means he who can create, right? Well, we know every time we see something, there's always a counter to it. So Satan, that's his name. Lucifer, Samuel, he's got all these different names. Is he who can imitate. See that?
Yes.
So that's what's going on. He can't. So you say we have the prophets and our forefathers having dreams and visions and dealing with the Most High. Well, what he got to go do? He got to go show them municipal herbs.
Yes.
Marijuana and cocaine and all that to have dreams and visions and illusions.
Yes.
But where they going? They going into this other realm what the guy was just talking about. Mystical.
Right.
They going there through enhancement in drugs enhancement.
Drugs.
But Most High gave us melanin.
And then on that same note, as you speak about drugs, the European have produced drugs to mess up our communication through the pineal gland with the Most High.
Right. That's why we having so many mental cases all over the place, because and then it's all about us not understanding what the melanin is and what the melanin capable of.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What about the fallen angels? The fallen angels, okay. When Michael created the man on the 8th day and breathed this melanated system into him, did the fallen angels have melanin or no?
Yeah, we made in their image. That's what I said. When you read Ezekiel, it tells you they were blue. They blue black. So they got an overdose. They got more melanin. That's what makes them different than us. They got more melanin, which means they more. That's what makes an angel different than what a man is. We all have limited amount of melanin.
Okay, and so the fact that the fallen angels are just saturated with melanin to the 90,000 degree, that they were able to teach those secrets of the mystery of melanin to
their children, the giants.
To their children, the giants. Okay.
Right.
Now that takes me to my last
point. It's perverted. It's perverted. Once they went into women, they became perverted.
Okay.
So they giving them perverted. It's supernatural knowledge and all that, but it's perverted. The knowledge that's coming from Solomon and David and them out of Israel, at the same knowledge coming out of Kemet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, when you identify that there were two dissensions of angels, the 200 that came down with Satan, and then a group. You say a group came down
No,
in
no,
Egypt.
no, no, no. It's a 1/3 came down with Satan before Genesis 1 and 1. That 200 came down in Genesis 6.
Okay, okay. So the ones that came down in Genesis 6, you're saying that they were the ones that were abusing our people in Egypt?
Yeah, they created the giants that was in Egypt. When you go to Genesis chapter 10, 13 through 20, all of Mezrine children, and he tells you, people reading over there, but he tells you that for Mezrine you got all these giants. Mezrine is a giant. Then you get
Okay.
all these ites. So
Yes.
when you go back and do from the historical side of it, they've been finding giants all over the place. Well, they different sizes. So when you start talking about the Nephilim, when the angels came down and slept with the women, that's the taller ones. But then, like I said, the Most High bound those angels, so the source of where they came from was no longer there, so they get smaller and smaller. That's why you got the ites, the Jebusites, the Gerbajites, and all them.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't but they still way taller than us. But they ain't as tall as the original ones when the angels first came down.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. What is the connection with the giants that were in Egypt and the Pharaoh? The they tell us that there was a Pharaoh that came in after the original Pharaoh that was dealing with Joseph was not initially mistreating the Israelites, but then there came a Pharaoh in later that did not know Joseph. So, what is the connection between the giants in Egypt and the pharaohs?
The original, you got 29 dynasties. You got some you had giants ruling in Egypt, you had men ruling, and then the last dynasty was Greece. The 29th
Okay.
dynasty was Greece. But you had all different type of humans that was on, well, you can't say humans, but you had giants that was ruling at first. Akhenaten was a giant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then you had men ruling, and then you had the Europeans ruling. I mean, the
Okay.
Greeks. So you
Okay.
had uh, different types of people ruling at certain times. You just
Mm-hmm.
gotta understand what's going on.
And then it also explains the building of the pyramids. When you understand that the giants came down in Egypt, it also goes back to that connection of how they moved those big stones and built those pyramids. Is that a connection?
Right. It's on the walls. They're showing
Okay.
you the Egyptians showing you that they whatever color the person was, they got the color how he looked, and then however tall he was. But like I say, we ain't looking at all that. We throw. But if you look on the walls on all the stuff they have on the wall, they show you that they got men standing there taller than a giraffe.
Mm-hmm.
You got little men, you got shorter men. He's showing you what was going on in Egypt. Then you got the basins over there where they wash their hands with. This basin over here, taller than an elephant. What man you know
Mm-hmm.
got to wash his hands in a basin that big?
Wow.
So it's showing you when you look on the wall. It's a good video to watch is Egypt, Land of the Giants. He's gonna show
Egypt
you.
land.
They're gonna show you in proportion how these, what's going on. But we, like I said, we looking over. But
Okay.
okay. Anybody else got anything?
I have one more thing. If nobody else has anything else, I'll yield if somebody has something.
What you got?
Okay. The gentleman said that melanin, I'm sorry, you read on one of those cards that melanin is a belief. Could you say more about that?
It's supernatural. That's the letters, the Hebrew letters is melanin. This what they twisted it around and talking about in the beginning was the word and all that. No, it's melanin. The melanin. So you say a prime example of that is we saw how Solomon was living over there in Europe, over there when Solomon means peace. David came and clean the land out. Solomon lived during his time, it was peace. So they came and got us and brought us over here, right?
Right.
So what we got now? Jazz, blues, rap. What's creating that? It's the melanin.
Melanin. Okay.
It's the melanin that's in us. The life source that the Most High gave us is oppressed. And so then that's blues came, jazz came. Melanin doing that. But we don't understand it. But they understand it, but we don't understand it. It's coming out now because it's it's time. It's a time appointed.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I have so many questions, but I'm gonna save them for another time. Thank you so much. This is exciting. This is absolutely exciting.
Man, you got something, Kevin? Okay. All right. We go. Anybody else? We're gonna go into this next 30 minutes. Look like
you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, based on, what you're talking about, it makes sense now when you look at the current people that's in charge, and you look at all the other systems like the Greeks and the Romans. The only reason why they're where they're at is because he empowered them to be there. Otherwise, if it wasn't for him, because they got to baptize us. So if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be nothing. Because how their makeup and
right. Yeah, you're right.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, right. That was the reason why I was saying it was time to go in it, because we didn't build the foundation. It's time to go in. So anyway, I'm gonna get this question right here from Queen Netta. It says, I have a question. What is the connection with Buddha and Christianity to Egypt? Like I was saying before, the Greeks, when Alexander went on his quest, I read it in chapter 8, the ram and the he-goat. And then Alexander came on the scene, but they killed Alexander. We might as well go on and get it right. Those 4 generals that took it, that his kingdom was divided up, they plotted, paused, and killed him. And then so the Greeks, when Alexander where he got killed at his conquest stop, was in India, and Buddhism was there, and Alexander had a contingent of like 250,000 people following him, and every time they would conquer a country, he would leave a group of people there, and he would synchronize they culture and their religion with the Greek religion. So when Alexander conquest stopped in India, all of them started dealing with. They was in Alexandria, Egypt, and they had another Egypt up in the Himalaya mountains. They synchronized Hellenized Buddhism with the Greek culture, and then we know that the 29th dynasty, Ptolemy ended up over in Egypt. So they took that Buddhism over to Egypt. So then they synchronized Buddhism when they synchronized Buddhism with and Hellenized it over there. They brought it to Egypt, and in Alexandria, Egypt, with the library, they synchronized into the Egyptian mystery system, the 29th dynasty. That's why I'm showing you how that is. I didn't really go into it Wednesday, but you had the Gnostics. Gnosticism, and what they did was you had Horus, Isis, and Osiris. Horus was he was immaculately conceived. He's one of the 16 crucified saviors. So they synchronized. Buddha was immaculately conceived. So they synchronized all that. That's how you get from Buddhism and the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Is how you get Christ. Because the Egyptians saw Horus as they personified the sun. Well, when the Egyptians came, because they simple, they took the sun out of the sky and made an actual man out of it. That's what Gnosticism was. So when Constantine came, at first the first pharaohs didn't want to deal with Gnosticism because the Gnosticism was tied to Caesarian, and they didn't want to deal with that. But when Constantine came, he needed a religion to unify his kingdom that he had just acquired. So he went back and he stole the ideologies of Nazism and made Christianity with it. But he had to get rid of the Gnostics. And so the Gnostics is the ones that was in the catacombs. The Gnostics was the ones that was being burned at the stake and put in the arenas and all that. They had to get rid of the Gnostics. That's why nobody don't know nothing about them now, and they don't talk about them. They're burning all the Gnostic books. And then recently, I think in 1945, they found that Nag Hammond library, all the Gnostic books, and that's where you get the Black Madonna from, the Black Mother, the Black Christ, and the Black the Black family, where the Pope goes behind the scenes and worship the Black Madonna. That's what the Gnostics had. That was a cut off of the Egyptians' mystery system, and then they stole it and made Christianity out of it and killed the Gnostics off. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, so anybody else got anything? We ain't gonna be able to do nothing but 30. We're gonna do 30 more minutes. We have to do the other 30 minutes, other half for the Shabbat class. I'm gonna play this last 30 minutes.
Back, of course, to understanding how the Egyptian pantheon worked out what it meant. But since we was on, you mentioned something about the Hasidics, and them studying the Kabbalah. Black people need to know something about what they're looking at when they see the Hasidics. They're all dressed in black. You see one, you're looking at all of them. What is the psychology? What is the spiritual?
Well, the black, just like the black that you have in your judges,
oh, my bad. Okay.
Osirianism, God of the perfect black. God of the perfect black. From blackness, everything comes. So they understand that it is the ultimate power. And so they wear all the black in all this particular thing because ultimately they understand in order for them to fake that they are the original people, it has to be done through a serious culture of knowing just about what we dealt with. Now they understand, and like I say, they worship, they study the Kabbalah. Now in this movie, when you go see it, you're gonna see them. They're gonna walk up on a room, and Melanie Griffin gonna say, we study 13 hours a day.
Yeah, you got to understand that this Kabbalah, you can do your own research on it, but it's a twisted version of how you deal with melanin.
That's what the boy is going to be saying to her. And basically,
divination and witchcraft.
They study the cosmology of the universe, and you best believe it's not just the Kabbalistic side. They even study the Egyptian side and anything they can get their hands on, so that they can stay and reign supreme. As a matter of fact, there's a war going on right now in the white world with a lot of these occult people. And what it is they're complaining that whenever that the Jews have two types of oaths. They have an oath. They have an oath.
Check this out.
They take an oath to Israel. And that oath is when they go out in the public world, whatever they experience within any other secret societies or any other organization, they have an oath to Israel to render that knowledge and that spirit, in any type of secret that they want to the rabbis and the head of their community. So they have an oath to override any oath that they take in public society and in private society outside of the Jewish society. So they got a war now that you got them that come into these particular organizations, and because they only have an allegiance to so-called white Israel, that there is no secret too great that white Israel don't supposed to get.
Check this out now.
So there's a big occult war going on around the country with these people, with these Hasidic Jews or whatever, trying to corner the market on all knowledge, because they know ultimately that we are the original ones, and they are an imitation of Israel, or basically, is it really? Is it really? So that has a lot to do with it. So you best believe they don't just study the Kabbalistic aspect, they are into just about everything they can get their hands on. Well, why not? They are not the original Hebrews no way. So obviously they have to get their hands on all of it to make this system whole. You see?
Now, are they using magical?
Yeah, they are the main ones.
See, check it out. Check it out now. You're talking about Esau.
Late in my studies, I found out that in actuality, they are some of the primary figures that is behind most of your holidays.
See?
And different things like that.
So they're using divination on us. And that goes with Most High said. You're gonna watch over. You're gonna watch over to make sure that we gonna stay sold off until it's time for him to come and get us. So he got Esau. He said, what did he say? He gonna bring out the sword against us. Okay. So what did he tell Esau in Ezekiel 35? That he was gonna live by the sword. Esau the sword.
They do certain. That's why you think they got all these Jewish holidays.
Mm-hmm.
You think of people that came trace their history back to Spain. What the hell they got all these Jewish holidays? Mm-hmm. That's because they are constantly
check it out,
trying to do certain rituals to make white civilization stay on top.
Right.
As a matter of fact, let me explain this to you. The other Gentiles look for this Jew as his ultimate priest.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, he figured he's something. They can somehow, like you say, make some type of connection with black people.
So I want to inject something right quick. So notice I showed you there was a priesthood came, the Moors. It came out of. He said there was a priesthood. You know, it was a priesthood that fell with Satan. Now he's talking about a priesthood right here. You got to keep that in mind. So these people right here, we know in Obadiah, he says that ambassador was sent out, and they went to the Gentiles and converted them. That's a majority of 95% of the Jewry today is Ashkenazi, the Edomite. I mean, the Japhet. Ashkenazi is a son from Japhet. The Edomite Jew, the one with all this witchcraft and this divination, is all there. Ain't that many of them?
That maybe they might be saved if they have an allegiance with this particular Jew. So what they do is everybody cartels the damn Israel, or the Israelis. You see, because somehow these people know that Christianity is fake.
Come on.
As an $8 bill.
Come on.
And they got to have some type of ancient, now don't get me wrong, Christianity as a religion is fake. Christianity as a mystical system comes out of Coptic Egypt, and it is just as metaphysics as ancient hieroglyphic Kemet. Let's make the distinction. Moralistic, organized Christianity is fake. Ancient Christianity and ancient Christian mysticism predates Christianity.
Right.
And one has nothing to do with the other, but one is the real one and the other one is a plagiarized version.
Right.
Let's get that right.
So the Gnostic.
So we're talking about the fake plagiarized version where you
the Gnostic. Do your research on the Gnostic. That's a real Christianity. And it's plagiarized off of the Egyptian mystery system. It's tied to Horus, Isis, and Assault.
historicalize the ancient Christ, the soul is in all of us, to put it and relegate it to one man, straight-haired man walking around Jerusalem who never existed. Now let's understand, you see, the difference between one that's based on the Egyptian god Horus.
See?
And
that's the Greeks behind this.
One that's based on
synchronize all that.
This fictitious,
that's what I'm showing.
Figure to line up by. So he's the biggest pimp, like Jim Jones and the rest of JC. He's the greater pimp because he never existed. He was a mystical character or mythical character, and even Paul in his writings never mentioned on the historical Christ. All his writings was about a mystical Christ.
Right.
A whole chapter on that in the book. Who is the King of Glory? Alvin Boyd Q.
That's what we talking about.
Which is one of the highly recommended books with from Dr. John Henry Clark. And this is the one that the government had to ban because this particular book will eat any Christian's ass out on that subject of Christianity. With this book, there is no hiding. Massey's book basically said the same thing, but Massey was trying to show the connection with ancient Kemet, and he was more interested in the Kamite mythology, which is good. But Q really bust this thing up. You see what I'm saying? With this thing. Now, going back to them, the reason why everybody bows down to Israel because this is the high priesthood for all Gentile whites. So, if New York don't have a damn door left on it, they're gonna have them Lubavitcher Jews over there also too. You see what I'm saying? And they do all kinds of rituals and ceremonies. And the reason why they have all those holidays, because they are constantly trying to do things spiritually to keep this imperialism afloat. So they just like the government have the army do the fight, they got them to do certain spiritual things, or certain ritualistic things, as well as they got other secret societies and lodges doing their part also too. But they are one of the main ones. You see what I'm saying? One of the main ones. You see, also too.
Now let me actually, if you go back and begin to look at the pantheon of Egyptian gods, spiritual figures, and I want to kind of understand what those things meant, represented, how they were interpreted.
Okay.
Worked.
Okay. Well. The take on it here is, if we came from a history that was pre-physical, then all that we ultimately are is different particles and elements of the universe. In alchemy, it deals with the different stones, minerals, alloys, and everything that make up everything on the earth is also in the human body. The human body has everything that makes up everything on the earth. Every herb, every particle, everything that you know of, and life itself exists on the inside of us as particles, or stones, or gems, or whatever you want to call them, gases, or whatever.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. I was going to explain that to you. This what based on what he's saying now, this what the Lord of Hosts was talking about when he told Satan. He said, let me get it right here, read it. So, and like I was saying, we missing this because of, like I said, these angels and the Most High, all that, they scientists. They scientists beyond imagination. So when he conveying stuff to you, you have to understand that. So like I said, when he talking about DNA, he's saying don't don't bring them else foreign over here. Don't bring no some throwed off man over here, or woman over here dealing with y'all, because that DNA gonna attach to it. That's what he's saying. But we ain't getting it like that. So anyway, he says Ezekiel right quick. Again. So we in says yeah. Anyway, he says he's talking to Satan, and he said that Satan was went up and down on the stones of fire, and then he told him he started naming all these different stones that was in him. He said when he was saying the day that I was created, he listed all these different type of stones. Well, it's the molecular breakdown of these stones that was put in them. So it's the same thing when he formed man. And so how you know that? Well, I read to you out of the book of Bartholomew. I told you how they took, just like the Israelites, when the Most High look at Israel, Jacob had 12 sons. Each one of them sons had a whole tribe that multiplied. But when the Most High looked down from heaven, he see one man. All these boys, all these men, all these people, he see one man. So it's the same thing with that. He took the molecular makeup. He told just like he scattered Israel, the scriptures were scattered. And so who scattered them? When they was in Alexandria, when they was concocting all these books from the New Testament, they'll take some truths from over here out of the book of Daniel and stick it over here in their book, and then you have to have discernment when you're reading it to see where the truth coming in. So I showed you in the book of Bartholomew when Satan was trying to Jesus told Satan told Bartholomew to put his foot on Satan's neck and make him tell him what happened in the beginning. Then Satan told him. He said, the 7 angels. He said he told one of them to go get clay, one of them to go get this, one of them to go get that, and he brought it back, and then he condensed it, and then he made the man. Well, that's what he talking about with Satan. He ain't talking about he put no diamond on his back. He walking around with a big old diamond on his back, but he took that essence of that carbuncle stone, he took the essence of this others, all these different types of precious stones, and that's what's in Satan. That's what makes him. And then he says he can the tabrets and the pipes in him, which means he can sing. He's vocal. He'll sing. He'll bust a note and your draw will fall off. And so that's what he's talking about.
Fluids.
See, fluids.
But not only those things on the earth, but everything in the universe exists in us, as well as some things beyond the known universe.
You took all that and put it in name when he formed.
So ultimately, these netters were primordial symbols and primordial manifestation of spiritual phenomenon that make up these particles. It's inside of us. And as a result, it's a vast system of sciences,
right,
an advanced system of putting together cosmic energies.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And ultimately, these energies play a part in our human body, because that's all we are. So it's a multifaceted system. On the mundane or terrestrial plane, it lines up with nature.
Yeah, see that? That's what I was talking about
see,
the
on the extraterrestrial plane, it lines up with everything.
Rap and all that.
And on the omniverse plane, or the metaphysical verse plane, that which is beyond the universe, the damn alpha, or the God particle, it lines up even beyond the known universe. And the black substance that we're talking about is that same black substance that is the building blocks that makes up everything that there is, even on the physical. And Osiris represents that God of the perfect black, but before him it was represented by the god Sut or Set. You see, Set or Sut is the oldest deity known to mankind. He also becomes the enemy of Osiris, but there's some aspects of that on a metaphysical level that they go hand in hand. In order for Osiris to make the true manifestation of what he is to be, he had to be killed. Because when you kill something, you break down the particles in the elements.
So that go your dying and resurrected Savior. That's a characteristic that's put on every one of those 16 crucified saviors.
So you can turn it into something new. Things after they complete a cycle have to be destroyed so that they can create something new. That's why all Christ mythology around the world also deals with death. But it is in that process of death that you rise up from the ashes and make a new reality. So Set Typhon, in one aspect, is the ultimate principle of transformation by killing Osea, so his body can make another new reality, which ultimately will be the savior of us all. So these particular entities was a multiple system. Number one, when they talk about the Southern liberal arts and they talk about all the stuff based on the learning and all that stuff that you got from the Afrocentric community, they are right. When they talk about this stuff lining up with nature on this particular realm, they are also right. But ultimately, this stuff goes back down to the alchemical component, which is the building blocks of everything in the universe and outside of the universe also too.
Melanin.
And Horus principle represents the seed that will rise up, because Horus and Maya is one and the same.
Okay, I want to inject something right here, right quick. I'm gonna let it play. We got 10 minutes. Here we go. So I told you about we saw how Athena in Greek mythology, Athena came out of Zeus' head. And she was the all the characteristics she got is the characteristics that Michael had. So let's look at it right here. Maya. He just mentioned Maya. Okay. Maya. What is Maya? Maya it refers to ancient concepts of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. Remember what the Buddha did? Same thing. Maya was also, look at this. Maya was also the goddess. Come on, go back to what they did in Psalms, and in Ecclesiastics, and the Songs of Solomon. So it says they stuck a woman in there. So it says Maya was also the goddess who, watch this, the goddess who personified these concepts and regulated the stars. Enoch tells us that Uriel regulated the stars. Okay, it says regulated this. Maya regulated the stars, seasons. Look at this, and the actions of mortals, and the deities who had brought order from chaos at the moment of creation. See that? They ain't no difference in these Egyptians than Buddha than the Greeks. So it says Maya, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order, daughter of Ra. She is depicted as a young and beautiful woman uh, uh, standing or seated with a feather in her head. So now you see where it's coming from. That's what I was telling you about having when you understanding that these are perverted. These are perverted, contrary to what we know about what was told us by our father Enoch. And so why is that? Well, they lost everything they had by coming down dealing with women. Now they perverted. Okay.
Maya is the Christ principle also.
See?
But Maya is more so you gotta understand when the Afrocentric people talk about the government being balanced with Maya, that is the realm of the mundane or the physical realm that they govern a certain thing based on checks and balances and laws based on the scale. But Maya takes on an even greater principle in the spiritual realm.
Right.
Maya in the spiritual realm is an alchemical component that we call in alchemy the great works. And the great works, let's see what the great works is. See if I can find a synopsis of it, in some literature, some alchemical literature. As soon as I have anything on the actual great works. I don't think I do here, but anyway, the great works is the coming together of angel, God, man, baby, animal, and everything in the known universe that comes to one particle. And that particle represents the new reality of long past cycles that have gone, that have completed their run. As a result, it's condensed into a particle of light, which is your Christ energy. And that's basically what our bodies have been going through since we've been in the
NBA playoffs are here.
Oh, that's it. That's commercial.
cooking and creating a new reality that we will ultimately throw off. So even in the Bible, when they say every man will be known by his works is not talking about what he did in the physical realm. It's impossible, man. I mean, who cares what you did down here? Especially if you're doing stuff without any knowledge, how would you know? But it was talking about how your spiritual nature of you work. And if you don't have the great works, which is the melanin, ultimately, which alchemy is based from, you don't have any inner workings. You don't have any inner workings. So Maya, on another thing, is the great works. The great works is the coming together of all energies and crystallizing into the greatest work of all, a new reality they call the New Jerusalem. Well, Maya is the same principle in ancient Kemet. The English version would be the great works, or we would also call illumination, or what you would call in Christianity, Christos.
Hmm.
So Maya is the Christ principle. That's why you get the word in Kemet, Ha, which is the child, Ma, which is the mother feminine principle, Ma. You get the double Ma, Mama. So Maya, before Mayat was Maya, it was Ma. Then you get the double Ma, Mama, mother. So Har, Heru, child, light seed, Ma, the primitive energy, Ku, pyramid. Combined, you get the male and the female harness. That's the same as the yin and the yang symbol, where the blackness is the yin, and the yang is the light. Har, Ma. So in the word Har, Ma, Ku, or Heru, Ma, Maku, is both Horus and Maya combined. And you get both of those particular principles combined. But the word Ma is feminine. The word At is her son, which is the Horus. His Ethiopian or his Cushite name for Horus is At. And from At you get Aton. And from Aton you get Adam. Mother, Mayat, Adam. Mother Adam. Now in the cosmological principle, you get the great mother who represents the triple blackness of space in the northern hemisphere of the universe called Alpha Draconis. Draco, the great dragon. And some of the original name for the Egyptians were called the Draconians.
Yeah.
That great dragon is also called Typhon. So they become Typhonian, Draconian, and another name called Ophidian.
Like I was saying, they're different origins. They say we all came from the same place, same blood, but we see right here was the brother breaking down as a lie from the pits of hell. And Genesis 6 tell you that.
So you get the word Draconian. You have to say, yeah, those ideas are very draconian, which means they are the ultimate ancient. But it means the dragon. Your word dragon comes from the word Draco. And from the word Draco, you get Dracon. And from the word Dracon, you get dragon. And the word Typhon comes from Dracon. But ultimately, this is the great mother. In her south gate, in her southern hemisphere, she has her child Horus, which is the star Sirius, which is her clitoris, her south gate. So the south gate on a woman is the vagina, that's the birthplace. So she has her star Sirius, which is Horus, but it's also known as Osiris, which is also Orion, but also Isis, or Aset. You see.
Okay, so we at the 1 hour mark. So what you begin to see right here? Anybody that know anything about it, they said they teach you when you start dealing with seminary and all that stuff about esoteric. See, and so that's what I'm showing you that the Old Testament. You can't do that with the Old Testament because ain't nothing about no Old Testament that's esoteric. It's the New Testament because that esoteric part of it, like he's doing right here. You're not going to understand the Egyptian mysticism system without the esoteric part. Well, when they concoct the New Testament, it's plagiarized off of the, like I said, part of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So when you read it, it's esoteric meanings to it. Just like I don't know if anybody caught it, but in the New Testament it talks about without works and not doing works and the this and that. And he just told you what the works was. The works tied to the melanin and all that. It ain't talking about no works like what you doing out here, you being good and all that. Like he said, nobody give a damn about that. It's the understanding the melanin part of it, which is what was taught to the Egyptians by their fathers. Because the Egyptians was children from the fallen angels came. Like I said, they was oppressive. They oppressed the Israelites. And like I said before, the Most High said that my people oftentimes went down into Egypt, and the Egyptian, the Mizraim, children of Mizraim, afflicted them. Okay, that's what they was at 430 years. Mizraim afflicted them. Not Cush or Put or Canaan, but Mizraim, children of the giants. Okay. So I'm gonna bring everybody up. We're gonna anybody got any questions or comments, and we're gonna pick this other part of this up in the morning. Anybody got anything?
Awesome class. Awesome.
Okay. Everybody good. Okay. Yeah. So we passed the 2 hour mark. So I'm gonna say let me get over here. Shalom, 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 and another shalom. I'll see y'all in the morning at 9 o'clock. So get you a peanut butter sandwich or something and let this here ferment. And we're gonna pick back up in the morning. Okay.